Now let's get some analysis on those quakes now. Caroline Holden is a seismologist at GNS Science and joins us live from Wellington in New Zealand. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. Is there any indication that this is a domino effect at all? Is it possible that these two powerful earthquakes, the first in Japan, the second in Ecuador, are related?
Yes, that's a very good question. But firstly, I'd like to say that our thoughts from New Zealand are with the people affected by these tragic earthquakes in Japan and in Ecuador. And so to go back to your question, it's a very fair question, and it's a difficult one as well. When we think about triggering of large earthquakes at large distances, there are three factors that come in mind: the distance, the timing, and the magnitude of these earthquakes. And so when we look at distance, we have very large distance. So could one earthquake so far away trigger another one about 6,000 kilometers away? We have the timing as well. Did this earthquake occur within a few minutes of the wave train passing by, or did it occur much later, like this one, about 24 hours later? And finally, the size of these earthquakes. Unfortunately, the magnitude was quite large for Japan, 7.3. But if you compare the size of that earthquake with the size of the one that affected Ecuador, it's much, much smaller. We are talking 50-kilometer rupture in the crust for Japan versus 500-kilometer rupture, hundreds of kilometer rupture for Ecuador. So could such a smaller earthquake trigger a much larger earthquake later on and so far away? My personal intuition would be that it's unlikely, and that actually these two powerful earthquakes are just part of two of the most very seismically active regions of the world.
Okay, so just in terms of Japan, in the fact that they had two earthquakes in the space of a very short period of time, why do smaller earthquakes follow bigger ones, or vice versa? How significant can aftershocks be?
Yes, so there were actually two powerful earthquakes that preceded the 7.3. There was a 6.4 and a few hours later a 6.0. And these two earthquakes were followed a few hours later by a 7.3. We call the first couple ones more like foreshocks, and they were directly triggering the larger one, the 7.3. The foreshock sequence isn't that usual, but it does happen. It's not unusual. And this is the message we always send out to people affected by a large earthquake, that in the first hours of a large earthquake, there could be triggering of a larger event.
Okay, Caroline, thank you very much for that. A very interesting insight for us there. That's Caroline Holden, a seismologist from New Zealand.